Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me for this segment, we have Ben Weiss, co-founder and CEO of CoinFlip, to discuss the crypto regulatory landscape and how the recent Ripple ruling could impact the digital asset space. Ben, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Hey, Jill, it's great to be back here with you.
All right, you got it. How did interest from BlackRock create a new rally behind crypto values? What does it say about investors and what type of value did it create in the crypto space?
Oh, the BlackRock interest is huge for the sector. For those of you who remember a couple of years ago, Larry Fink was very negative on crypto. And I think BlackRock's the largest asset manager out there. And for them to say that we want a spot ETF for crypto, I mean, this is a huge shift from one of the largest institutions. And that's why we've seen this bullish sentiment on crypto right now. And if you combine that with the ruling on XRP, I think it's going to be a great time in crypto for the next 6 months.
Well, Ben, let's talk about that. Where do things stand with regulation in the crypto space? We know the lack of a framework has been one of the challenges. How does the recent Ripple news affect where things stand for consumers and digital asset companies?
So last week, a judge in the Southern District of New York ruled that XRP, at least when it's traded on secondary exchanges such as Coinbase, such as Kraken, is not a security. And we've already seen exchanges list XRP as well. And this is way bigger than XRP because that framework that the judge laid out there makes it pretty clear that at least until this ruling, unless this ruling is appealed and overturned, that most of these altcoins are not going to be securities. So that takes away this regulation by enforcement that we've been seeing with the SEC, and that brings confidence back into the space. If you remember when we were talking last time, some big firms like MasterCard and Visa, they were very interested in crypto, but it seemed like they were sort of holding until there was regulatory clarity. And with this ruling, I think it's giving people confidence to jump back into crypto.
Right. And Ben, it was so interesting because just the day before the ruling, Senators Loomis and Gillibrand reintroduced crypto legislation, which I think that's really what the industry needs, not just regulation, but a legislative framework. Perhaps it has to come from Congress and not necessarily a regulatory agency.
Yeah, it's always better when the framework comes from the legislative branch. But at least we got some framework here and some guidance from the courts. And I'll say this was a very thoughtful ruling by the judge because she actually ruled that the sales that were primary to institutions outside of the exchanges, that those potentially were securities. But if it's on a third-party exchange like Coinbase or Kraken, it's not. So it was a very nuanced and thoughtful ruling. And in the ruling, there's sort of a framework that she lays out on how to evaluate if those securities are considered investment contracts. But I think you're 100% right here, Jill. This is going to give Congress hopefully the confidence to get a framework because it's so important that America keeps its reputation as a leader in technology and innovation.
With news on BlackRock and the Ripple decisions, what types of predictions do you have for the future of regulation within the US and use cases across banking, finance, and more?
Well, I think, as you said, this provided a great first step in regulatory clarity, but it's not enough. I think we're going to see Congress take a second stab at it and try and get something in before it turns into election season. I think we're going to see a lot of the large institutions, such as BlackRock, such as Fidelity, they're going to get involved here. And that's so important because the early crypto people, they might already be in, right? But how do the people who don't necessarily care about the technology, don't necessarily care about the ideology, they're just trying to invest in an alternative asset that's been performing really well, or perhaps they're sending a global wire transfer and crypto, you can do it the same day and it settles instantaneously. So we're going to see more use cases, and the technology is getting better and better. And some of the smartest people in the world, like Larry Fink, have changed their views on crypto.
All right, Ben, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you, Jill.